Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
Wow. Woo. There were fireworks.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes ago in the closing arguments in the A$AP Rocky trial. I mean, let me put it this way. The lawyer for A$AP, Joe Tacopina, takes his coat off. He is so hot.
He is heated, and this all started during Joe Tacopina's closing argument. What we've gathered at this point is that he made some reference to A$AP Relly, who is the alleged victim here, the guy that Rocky is accused of shooting a gun at.
And the prosecutor's star witness.
Right.
Who had problems on the stand.
And Joe openly said during his closing argument that Relly had committed perjury and that the prosecution accepted that.
And the prosecutor objected vehemently, and the judge said, nope, Tacopina's allowed to say that. Well, that was yesterday. Today, it came up again.
Yeah, and now this is what the explosion that happens in court as both Joe Tacopina and the prosecutor are yelling at each other. The judge is in the middle of it. It is chaos.
That's unethical. And this is a guy who, the Ninth Circuit just said lied to a jury in the Branton case.
Your Honor,
so I want to hear about him.
One more thing out of him, and we air everything that's happened in this case, which the court's aware of. Stop. He might want to stop.
I'm so glad.
You should be, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a break. You should be.
So
they take a break.
They took a break. And I believe this was outside the presence of the jury.
Right.
But man, this is how heated this thing got. And Tacopina had made reference to something that happened in the Robert Durst trial, which that prosecutor was prosecuting Robert Durst and said that he had lied, the prosecutor had lied during that trial.
Right.
And it just set the prosecutor off.
Right.
Set him off. Look at that. That is crazy.
So the thing that nothing will tee off a attorney more than being called for character violations or courtroom decorum violations or codes of conduct violations by another attorney. It's very rarely done, right? There's always this thing that you'll fight hard for your clients, but don't make it personal with the other lawyer. Here, these two guys clearly don't like each other, and that came out, and man alive, you just don't see that very often. The screaming, the back and forth, the judge standing up at the bench.
Hey, look at the judge is like, I don't know what. The judge is shaking his head like, wow, I don't know.
This judge has been around for a long time. Very, very experienced judge. I wonder how many times he's seen this kind of vitriol in court.
Well, I mean, the fact that the judge is standing.
Right.
You know, I mean,
the judge is standing.
You just don't see
I'm waiting for someone to yell, you're out of order, you're out of order, this whole courtroom's out of order.
I mean, okay, so it looks like this case is going to the jury it could go as early as Monday. By the way, excuse me. Monday is dark. It'll go Tuesday.
Right.
We may have Joe Tacopina on TMZ Live on Monday. So we're going to get into this for sure.
Yes.
It's Brittany in Erie, Pennsylvania. And this case at this point is he said, she said, because honestly, they're childhood friends. They went to high school together in New York. They used to be in a rap group together. How did it come to this? We don't know what actually happened that night, but I do feel for Rihanna and their kids because he's facing up to 24 years, and that's a long time for him to be away from his kids.
And by the way, Rihanna and her kids were in court for closing, so we will see what kind of an impact that has on the judge. But again, Tacopina is going to be here on Monday, so
we get some answers about the clearly bad blood between himself and the prosecutor.
Clearly. Okay, we're going to move on.
Yes, to Kanye West and Bianca Censori and what appears to be the end of their marriage, or at least we know that they are inquiring about ending their marriage. Whether anyone is ready to actually pull the trigger on a divorce yet, we don't know.
But usually when two people each go to a divorce lawyer, it's a sign that they want to get divorced.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for the marriage. Things are rocky to say the least. So, but we know
we've gotten some additional details. So yesterday we put in the website that both of them had gone to see a lawyer. We have more detail. Both of them had their reps going to lawyers this week, and that wasn't the first time. Back in October,
and
Kanye's rep went to another lawyer,
a different lawyer than from this week,
right? And was hot, was angry, on the phone over the relationship.
You'll remember, we actually had broken a story back in October that their marriage was on the rocks. This was when Kanye was actually in Tokyo, and for, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks, we'd seen him out and about, but Bianca was not there, and what we were told is that their marriage was on the rocks. And now we know that he did contact this attorney back then, and
who, by the way, wouldn't take the case.
Did not take the case.
No,
and
wouldn't take the case. Said,
right.
Nope.
Yeah,
Not for me.
If you're an attorney and Kanye calls you, you know that, I mean, when he got divorced from Kim,
5 lawyers. I think maybe 6.
that before he finally stuck with one and went through with the divorce. So the other big thing we found out, no prenup, which is a very interesting thing for Kanye, considering what his finances have been like over the last few years, since Adidas pulled out, since he blew, $60 million on that the Malibu home.
It just
that
lost
was
a
never
fortune.
Developed.
We're told he's lost money during this marriage. So it's weird the way community property works, but you do split the assets 50-50, but you also split debts incurred during the marriage 50-50.
Which is going to be problematic for someone to sort out, right? Because Kanye definitely has had losses, right? We know Adidas pulling out was a huge loss for him. But he's also put out, I think, 2 albums during the time there, maybe even 3.
Two albums, and he also bought that house. I think it's in Beverly Hills somewhere. I believe he spent around
that one they
$30
just
million.
bought, yeah.
It was weird. It was like kind of an old house that they were clearly, he was at least gonna completely restore. I think he wanted to make some type of compound there. But I mean, he clearly does still have money, does he? Right?
No, he has money. The issue is during the marriage, if they lost money that was part of the community, she's responsible for half. So if the net is that they lost money during the marriage, at least in theory, according to California law, not only would she not get money, she'd be responsible for her share of the debt, which is...
Okay, that would be...
But
that-
wait,
that's the law. That's
but
the law.
what if she doesn't have the money then?
Well, then you put her on a
Make
payment
payments.
plan.
You make
Yeah,
payments.
But I don't know that Kanye would do that, and I'm sure this thing's going to settle and not go to court. I'm just telling you the way the law works is debts incurred during the marriage with marital money or marital assets, they become 50-50, and
Well,
and he's lost money during the time they were married.
Let's
so
just
there
hope.
you go.
Let's just hope she gets to leave with more than the shirt on her back, because she rarely wears.
She rarely wears the shirt
Right.
on her back.
Right.
Now, again, we don't, as far as we know, nothing's been filed. We haven't seen anything. And look, people sometimes run to a divorce lawyer and then they never pull the trigger and do it. And we've seen that.
Yes.
And sometimes they file and then they withdraw the petition.
As we said, Kanye was inquiring back in October and nothing came of it.
That's right.
But they are inquiring
Well, also because
again.
you couldn't find a lawyer to do it. I mean, there is that.
Jenica McMurray, La Habra, California. I almost didn't believe it at first, but I think she might end up with the better end of the bargain with them going to the divorce attorneys now. Like, it's getting serious.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, he'll be responsible for paying her lawyer's fees, I'm sure.
Yes.
But again, we're not at that point down the road.
Not
They have
yet.
not yet filed.
Not yet.
We're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, Drake has dropped another album. And if you're Kendrick or a Kendrick fan, you got to be wondering, is he going to keep the beef going? This is supposed to be a love album, love songs with himself and Party Next Door, but there were some shots at Kendrick. We are going to break it down when we come back. Well, after Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance, a lot of people kind of thought Drake would just maybe stay in the background for a while. He is on tour down in Australia, but here in the U.S.
Or react hard.
Or react hard. Well, neither has happened, I guess, is what I would say. He did not stay in the background. He dropped a new album today with Party Next Door. It is called Some Sexy Songs for You. So you would think by that title, all right, there's not going to be any beef here, and he's not going to go at Kendrick. Well, he actually did on several songs on the album. We're going to play a couple of them for you here, just some examples. What I think is indisputable, he did not go hard at Kendrick, but he's certainly referencing their beef. In these two songs in particular, the first one you're going to hear is called Give Me a Hug, and the second one is Celibacy.
Bulletproof doors so heavy, got me rolling around like a dignitary. Funny how it's only bitch that are waiting on a boy's obituary. Cause if I die, it's these that become the sole beneficiary. And what the are they gonna do with it? Had the girls up at 29 on stage twerking with a dictionary. Like these men you know you can't trust. These girls that just don't give me enough. I guess it's up and it's stuck. We're not like them, baby, and they're not like us.
So a direct reference there saying they're not like us.
It's kind of weak.
I don't know. Listen, it's 21 tracks. It is a lot to try and get through. Someone who has listened to the full album and is I would say, famous supporter of Drake. I'm very curious to hear what DJ Academics has to say about the album and the fact that Drake has decided to softly keep this.
Tiptoe.
Yes, he's tiptoeing. Ak, welcome back to TMZ Live. How you doing?
We're going to change the tune around here a little bit. Check this out. Drake dropped a project that was a love project, okay? There was no disses, okay? Even though you guys think...
Ak, I beg to differ. The one we just heard on Give Me a Hug, that's definitely a shot at Kendrick saying that the stripper is going to be on stage regularly to be doing, dancing to a dictionary. I mean, that's a direct shot at Kendrick.
And his music.
No, man, like, look at the song Not Like Us. That's a diss. When you start name calling, you start...
That's a hard diss, right. What Drake did seems like a soft diss.
I think, and I think I speak for most Drake fans here. What Drake is doing is what he did back in 2018. Drake is the best when he's in the revenge mode of phase, so to speak. Hey, everyone's against me, right? It's like this phenomenon that turns the clear winner into the underdog. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I like when his music's like that. I don't like when his music is, he's always taking shots at everybody. Hey, we could go back to 2014. He was taking shots at the entire rap game. He said, I could load every gun with bullets that fire backwards.
But the difference when he was taking those shots, he was on top. Everything he did was untouchable, and he was the guy everybody was aiming for. But now he's been taken down in such a dramatic way by Kendrick, it's a different vibe.
I feel that's mostly coming from fans and onlookers, because here's the thing. Drake is clearly going to move on and keep doing what he's doing, right? You're right. At the beginning of the segment, you said, hey, he could have came with something harder. No, he's moving on. He's saying the beef is over. Like, listen, even when he says it's over, people won't get over this moment. It's 11 months since his battle. It is over. I thought the Super Bowl was the funeral. It's over. Let my guy move on. He's making songs for the ladies. He's always going to throw some jabs now. And I think Kendrick will throw some jabs. But the beef is over. Let's keep it going.
So, okay, I have a question, and I don't have a dog in the fight, but just to me, the common sense of it is that if Drake wants to move on, say nothing.
Don't make any references to it.
If you're gonna keep it going, go hard, because Kendrick went hard. But when you go soft, it just feels kind of weak that either do nothing or do a lot. But he kind of was in the middle.
Right, make your love songs album, but don't make any references to Kendrick.
What people are also missing is that there were probably about 20 people who teamed up against them. He's also dealing with these issues of betrayal, all type of other things. He's not only talking about Kendrick. I think that's where fans have just put these two opposed to each other, where, obviously we saw with the Super Bowl performance, that was pretty much aimed at Drake. But I mean, I spoke to Drake, and shoot, after watching Kendrick's performance that felt so obsessed with Drake at the Super Bowl, I asked him and I said, hey, bro, I hope this album is not going to be completely obsessed with this guy. And he actually told me directly, he said, hey, listen, I'm not giving him any more energy.
Aren't most of those people he's referring to just people who have celebrated Kendrick or sided with Kendrick, danced at Kendrick's shows? Aren't those the people he feels betrayed by?
Yeah. And by the way, he's very direct with it. He's like, hey, I'm not letting this go, right? This isn't something I'm just going to be like, oh, we're all good now. Because, along the way of that battle, him and Kendrick weren't friends, but he did lose a lot of friends. He saw a lot of artists switch up on him. People that used and catapulted to their success off of his back, his name, his hooks.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You talk to him a lot. Has he watched the halftime performance?
I didn't talk to him about that specifically.
Oh, come on.
Come on. It didn't come up at all? You didn't ask him? Did you see it?
Just my one question. You guys had to talk about it.
No, I really didn't, because you have to realize the entire world, like over 100 million people watch this thing.
113 million.
Yeah, just for one guy to kick this other guy's back in. Like, if you're in his circle, because I know this personally, when I see myself online and people are kicking my back in, when I notice someone who I speak personally to, I don't want him to keep bringing it up, so I didn't ask him about that. But we did get a little chuckle out of apparently and allegedly, don't know if it's true. You guys, this is TMZ. You guys are gonna figure it out. I don't know if there was some noises pumped through the speakers and stuff like that. There was a streamer, Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat said that the NFL or Fox had put in crowd noise in the performance, added crowd noise.
Yeah, we got a little chuckle over that. That's it.
Yeah, but if you talked about that, but you didn't ask him, did you watch it?
That's a side issue, whether or not it's true. It's
obviously watch it. I don't know where he was when he watched it. He's in Melbourne.
That's right. Yeah.
So I didn't say, hey, did you like the performance? But clearly, he's probably seen the backlash, or not backlash, but the feedback. And I didn't want to ask him, like, hey, did you like it or not? I mean, that's kind of like a rhetorical question.
Did he say,
No, we know he didn't like it.
Did he say anything about Serena?
Yeah, I try to stay out of his personal affairs like that.
Yeah. Well, it was personal, but then she just danced at the Super Bowl. It's not personal anymore. Now the whole world is in on it.
But usually once you start knocking on that door, hey, I don't know the real nature of their relationship. I'm going to let him just say whatever it is in music. There's a lot that could come out when you get into those personal relationships that probably happen behind closed doors that, me, I have a big mouth. So I don't want him to tell me, because it's going to come out. Okay.
I got to tell you something. We're out of time, but if you ever get bored with music, you'd be a really good lawyer.
I'm actually thinking about going to law school. You guys are right on the money.
Well, there you go.
See? You see, you'd be really good at it. I can hear it. I can hear it.
All right. Well, we will see where this goes. I'm going to try and get through all 21 tracks, Zach, but
it's Valentine's Day. You with your partner? Come on, some nicely scented candles. Come on, what's your plan for today? You can't be on TV.
Yeah, Charles.
I don't think that's going to happen. But thanks for the tip, though.
We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
That was fun.
He is stern in his support of Drake.
He's good. Okay, we got to take a break.
All right, so when we come back, the head of JPMorgan is laying down the law, and the employees are not happy. You're going to hear the audio that leaked from a Zoom meeting where he went off about work from home. It's over at JPMorgan. You're going to hear him explain exactly why.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall. Yeah, right.
It's TMZ.
Well, Jamie Dimon, no D, is the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, and the employees there.
He runs a company and he's taking care of business.
He absolutely is. He's made a decision that work from home is over.
Yes, Jamie.
So he took this stand, and he actually explained to the employees while on a Zoom call why he was making this decision. And I gotta say, from my standpoint
and mine,
this is very sound logic on Jamie's part. Obviously, the employees are not happy about it because one of them leaked this audio from that meeting, and here's what he had to say.
A lot of you were on the Zoom, and you were doing the following, okay? Looking at your mail, sending texts to each other about where the other person is. Okay, not paying attention, not reading your stuff. It simply doesn't work. And it doesn't work for creativity. It slows down decision making. And don't give the work from home Friday works. I call a lot of people on Friday. They're not a person to get a hold of. And I've had it with this kind of stuff. And, I come in, I've been working 7 days a week since COVID. And I come in and where's everybody else?
Good for Jamie Dimon.
Good for Jamie Dimon.
I mean, they leaked this because they're thinking, oh, this makes Jamie look really bad, and it's going to put pressure on him. I think this country is in the opposite than, oh, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
all
you
fine.
heard him laying out specific ways that productivity was damaged
And he's
by
right.
this.
And he's right.
So I don't know what argument they have and why they think leaking this is going to change his mind.
Here's the argument, not to pour cold water on this, but a lot of people think it's hard to recruit top talent when you have this attitude, right? He wants the best and the brightest at JPMorgan, and if he's saying, I'm going to run it like a sweatshop, he may not get the best and brightest.
Well, guess what? The
You
best
didn't
and-
say
the
he's
best and
running
the
it like a
brightest-
sweatshop.
The best and the brightest generally don't say, oh, I want to work from home. It's just not the case. I mean,
you don't think the best and brightest can be pampered and want to feel like they handle with kid gloves?
Some of them can, but here's the deal. You work from home, you are not putting in a full day's work. And that's just the reality. You tell me, anybody.
Too many distractions
there
around the
are too
house.
many distractions, too many ways to screw around. The dog comes around, your
First
kid
of all,
comes
why
around.
are we acting like we don't all know this? We all went through it when we had to.
Everybody knows the game. Everybody knows this game.
My suggestion is everyone who is so in love with work from home, forget it ever happened. Because before that, nobody was
clamoring to be at home.
We got to be at home. We got to be at home. Then we did it when we had to.
And it was terrible for a lot of businesses.
Yep.
It really was terrible for a lot of businesses.
It really
You can't unring that bell, you two old men.
Really?
You can't unring the bell. That's
Never
the problem.
happened.
Hey,
it
Derek.
was a fever dream.
I dare
Move
you
on.
to. I dare you to try, Derek.
I mean, there's no concern about best and brightest.
You know, Kendra C from Cincinnati, I disagree. I think that you're 10 times more productive working from home. And so the tantrum that he's throwing that people don't want to come back into the office because he thinks we're more efficient working from home, the same tantrum we are all throwing having to go back into the office knowing we're more productive. But at the end of the day, he runs the company and he'll get his way and we'll have to go back into the office.
But how can you be more productive working at home? That makes no sense to me.
I have a much better work-life balance working from home.
Hold on. That's a different thing.
That's a whole different
thing. It's a different thing. Your work-life balance is one thing, but productivity.
I work during the time I would be commuting. So I actually work longer working from home than I do going into the office. Because if I'm off at 4, I'm going to be leaving that office at 4. But if I'm off at 4 and I'm at home already, I could do an extra hour. I could take an after-hours meeting. I wouldn't normally do that in the office.
And you're so productive. You're calling TMZ live from home during work.
Right? You should be working right now. Okay, we got to take a break.
All right. That was great. All right. When we come back, going to be joined by comedian Jeff Dye, who had some very interesting words about his former co-star, Sarah Hyland. When I say interesting, that's an understatement. He shredded her for what he's called tyrannical behavior on set. We don't ever hear this happen in Hollywood. So why did Jeff decide to speak out this way? He's going to be with us when we come back. Welcome back to TMZ Live. One thing we have always appreciated here is stark, bold, honesty.
Yeah.
From celebrities. It's something that we've sought ever since TMZ started. And
you only get it here and there.
Well, you're about to hear some from Jeff Dye, the comedian and actor. Recently went on a podcast, and I'm not sure how Sarah Hyland came up, or actually it sounds like he just brought it up and been meaning to get this off his chest. Jeff had been in a movie with Sarah. He admits he had a very small part. She was the lead. And he saw some things that he just decided he wanted to talk about. It is honest.
Brutal.
And funny at times.
Yes.
But here is what he had to say, and then he's going to be with us just to explain why he decided to get this off his chest.
And the reaction.
Yes.
In the time that I had to be on set, Sarah Hyland was the lead. She's like a pretty woman that chain smokes and is terrible. She was such a tyrant, rude to everyone. At one point she said this, a quote. This is a quote. David, who's the director, There's extras eating at the craft service table. She hated me, by the way, like just hated me. At one point she said, and this is also a quote, "You're what is wrong with people?" She tried to show everyone like the new Dumbo trailer had just dropped like that day, like the live action Dumbo. And she was showing it to us all. So everyone's pretending to be interested. She starts crying while showing us the Dumbo to like let us know how moved she is by the Dumbo trailer. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I just said, I didn't even mean it. I just wanted to ruin the moment. I go, yeah, that looks gay.
Oh my God. I mean, and it goes on and on and on.
The movie, by the way, was The Wedding Year. It came out in 2019. And clearly, when it was all said and done, as far as filming, Jeff and Sarah were not on the same page.
So let's bring in the new Justin Baldoni.
Exactly. Jeff Dye, welcome back to TMZ Live. How are you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my God, Jeff. That was scorched
When we
earth.
saw this, we just thought, we don't hear this ever. Very, very rarely do you hear this kind of honesty. So why now? Because it's been a few years.
Let me start off by saying I was just doing a podcast, and then they asked me about acting and show business. I have no interest in ruining Sarah Hyland's reputation. It seems like she's doing a great job of that on her own. I've gotten thousands of text messages and emails of people being like, "Thank God you said something. She's so mean. I've seen her here. She did this. She's like, she's not a great lady. I'm not trying to be mean. Maybe she just had a bad 3 days in a row while we were working together. But when I met her, and the entire time I was there, she was nothing to brag about. I also got a cease and desist from Marlboro Cigarettes saying, "Hey, leave our girl alone. We need her."
By the way, you've been getting this huge reaction to this thing. There are people who are, it's interesting. There are people piling on in this thing.
Yeah. So I know you said you got a bunch of these texts. Are the people that are texting you, how would I say this? Are they people who don't want to speak out because they might have to work with her, or they might?
Of course. That's Hollywood. That's show business. You guys know this better than anybody. We live in a system, and when I say we, I mean Hollywood, show business, actors, comedians, musicians, where we're in this like little bubble and we're afraid to say anything bad about the director. We're afraid to say anything bad about the star. But the truth is, women can be douchebags, right? She's a great example of it. And stars can be very rude. I think it's okay to say these things. I'm not afraid. Sarah Hyland's never going to help me anyways. So who cares? I don't care.
I got to tell you something. When I watched this and I heard you talking about, a show of masculinity, it really made me think that when you look at who's resonating right now and who's popular, it's the Joe Rogans, the Theo Vons. I think you're in that group. And it seems like, you say that people are afraid, but it feels like the exact opposite's going on. That
it's turning that way, yeah.
That it's turned, and that the people I just mentioned and others are the ones who are really getting the attention now.
Of course. I just think that, I think everyone's fatigued. I think it's just the pendulum swinging. Even your guys' last segment. I mean, if I was to have said something as honest and masculine as what you guys just said about, of course, working from home, you like it, but that doesn't mean you're more productive. Even that statement would have been blasphemy 5 years ago.
Right.
And then me calling out Sarah as being a tyrant on the set, everyone would have been like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing? That's so mean to say that." I'm like, no, I'm saying she's mean and she should be held accountable for her meanness. And I think that honesty wins nowadays. And I'm really happy that honesty wins, and it's showing.
You said you're not afraid, but you do know that...
I don't care.
You do know that what this does mean is when you're on set and you're working, that you've got to be on your best behavior at all times, because there are going to be people who are looking out.
You know what? I'm a nice guy. And if you've ever worked with me, I'm nice to everyone.
By the way, I have.
That's right.
And I got to say,
game show together?
I had so much fun with Jeff. We had a game show, and Jeff was fantastic. Everything I saw, and everybody in the crew, in the control room, he was great. I mean, so I don't think that's an issue.
When I did a show with William Shatner, Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw, and George Foreman called Better Late Than Never. And I think I was the only guy, I know I was the only talent, who could tell you the name, first and last name of everybody on the call sheet, from camera operator to director to, like, we should be good people no matter what field we're in. We can't just be rude and surround ourselves with backup dancers and gay guys who only say yes to us, like Sarah does. Like, I'm not afraid of any of these people in show business. I don't care.
I won't take it personal. Then why are you dressed like a bunny?
Are you a backup dancer?
No.
What?
You said gay guys. Yeah. Why are you dressed like a bunny rabbit?
Oh, no, I meant like, you know, like the sassy mean twinks. I don't mean all gays.
Why you dressed that way?
I'm in an outdoor mall here in Utah, and for whatever reason, they thought, well, it's cold here 12 months out of the year. We should build an outdoor mall. So here I am.
Yeah, that seemed like a good idea. I take it you're not there. You're not there shopping. You didn't fly to Utah just for shopping?
Oh, no, I'm doing comedy shows here. They're at the Wise Guys Comedy Club. But if anyone wants to see me live and hear some honesty, go to jeffguy.com.
Okay, that you will get.
Hey,
we'll
Jeff,
get honesty.
Jeff, thank you so much for jumping on. We really appreciate it.
Love you guys. Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff. Jeez. Okay.
By the way, joke right over your head. I know you're not a backup dancer.
I got it. I got the joke. You say you are. Remember?
I actually was.
Nobody believes you.
All right.
We're taking a break.
When we come back, what are you going to do about the price of eggs? Is there a better option? I mean, why not just make them at home? Speaking of work from home, is it an actual good decision, financial decision to buy your own chickens? You want to raise chickens and get your own eggs? Damon John's going to be here to follow the money when we come back. Oh, the old saying, what came first, chicken or the egg? I don't think anybody really cares at this point. With the price
They're
of
both
eggs.
out of reach.
Yeah, they're both out of reach.
Doesn't matter.
Well, actually, that's kind of what we're going to talk about. We know that the price of eggs, some places, as you can see, the numbers are ridiculous. I think the national average is at like $5.
But it goes up to like $12 in some
12,
places.
13. Someone in the office here said they paid $14. I think they got ripped off. But
you know what? When you go to a store and there are no eggs on the shelf and you find them, you buy them if you can.
Right. So people are buying them up in bulk and then other people get screwed. So if you're challenged on eggs, maybe there's a different route than just going to the grocery store. And this is where the chicken comes in. Because is it cheaper? This is what we're going to talk about. Is it cheaper to actually have chickens, probably not that many chickens, but to have chickens rather than going out and buying your eggs? Joining us right now to follow the money and answer this question, hopefully, is our buddy Damon John, who has some experience in this field.
Thank you. Absolutely. I mean, the prices are crazy. In 2019, it averaged out around $2. 2024, it went to $4. And now, because of the bird flu, 40 million egg-laying birds last year were killed. It is going as high as $9, $10. And people don't realize that actually chickens, if you take out fish, chickens are actually third as the nation's pet. You know, you got cats, you got dogs, and you got chickens. So people are already onto this. A lot of people are.
What do you mean? Wait. Can I stop you?
Damon, you're saying that chickens rank third?
Dogs, cats, and chickens?
Yes.
If you eat the chicken, does it count as a pet?
Well, it depends on what kind of relationship. Yeah, what kind of relationship you have with your chicken. I mean, that's just you eat them or not. I mean, you know. So.
As long as both parties are consenting and it's discussed ahead of time and they know what they're in for. Okay, this is going totally off the rails.
You don't fly. You want to eat them all the time. If you don't fly, let me just take one wing this month. And no.
Dude, Damon. Okay, this is totally off the rails. Let's get back to eggs. Yes, the price of eggs. So, look, I know in my neighborhood, every now and then I'll hear a chicken and I'll go like, who has a chicken? And there are people who actually have chickens in their backyards, and they are, I guess, raising them because they want the eggs. How does that work out?
They are raising them. Well, first of all, by the way, you know, I had to learn the hard lesson. What came first, the chicken or the egg? You actually don't need roosters for chickens to lay eggs.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask that. So you don't need them at all?
You do not need them at all. Most farms don't have roosters. The roosters make the chickens happy by, the noise and the stuff like that around, and they become more fertile, but you do not need them. So first of all, hence what came first, the chicken or the egg. But you could have an egg shortage too if the chickens aren't happy, excited, getting enough water, enough hydration, stuff like that. So egg farming is not as easy as you think, because your egg-bearing chickens may not bear eggs for the entire winter. It all depends. So it is actually a real job to put the work in on chickens. Often the chickens just don't, so you can't depend on them. So it's a question. It's probably better and easier to go to the market, but there's so many other substitutes now, I think, that you're going to have to start considering that.
So back to the money. What would it cost if I wanted to, the zoning laws were right and I had some backyard space, would you recommend, or I start with like 5 chickens? How
There's
many
a
chickens?
rainbow there.
Focus, Harvey. How many chickens do I start with?
Start with an average of 4 chickens. I think you can get a chicken for about $15 to $20. I would get
they're that cheap?
Yeah, I think you would get, a chicken is $15, $20. I mean, think about a plucked and raw chicken, right? What is that going to cost you, right? $12 normally?
Right, that's why I thought a chicken itself I thought a chicken would cost more because they're egg suppliers.
Right, and what they do is they average out, especially the browns, they average out about 1 egg a day. Hopefully you would get 1 rooster. You would keep that separate. It would fertilize the egg, and hopefully after a while you would get a bunch of other chickens. And you can probably, for a family, you probably get away with 6 to 8 chickens. And you understand you're going to have a little bit of a loss on some. And then keep them away from your mulch.
I feel like we have failed on this follow the money, because you were focused on pets. David's focused on his mulch, and the price of eggs is still sky high.
But I think
I will say, we did figure out that buying a chicken is cheaper than you probably expect.
I didn't know it was $15.
Buying a chicken is cheaper. Yes.
And
yes,
I don't know if you
saw
saw.
A live chicken is cheaper.
Did you see the rainbow flag on that hen house or whatever?
Damon, we're going to talk to you next week, because I'm going to try to get this guy back on track so we can do the next segment. Really thank you for the information.
You know what? You cannot, but in all reality, as much as we are in the we need it today, you can't change Mother Nature and just grow another 40 million chickens, by snapping your fingers. So this is a real matter that a lot of us get spoiled and go, oh, well, this is just going to clear up. You can't just, raise 40 million chickens to raise eggs in that period of time. So expect this to go on for a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Okay, Damon.
All right. Thanks, Damon.
All right, guys.
Anything else you want to talk about the rainbow chickens?
I just think I didn't know they were part of the LGBTQC community. See? We're taking a break.
Thankfully. When we come back, we're going to get a look at how President Trump is decorating the Oval Office, or just outside the Oval Office.
The self-portrait is
different from most presidents.
Yeah.
Actually, from every president.
In the last 30 days, I went out twice.
This sounds more like a prison than independence.
I want my rights back. I want my freedom back.
TMZ presents Saving Wendy, now streaming on Tubi.
Donald Trump, before he was president again, being convicted was being indicted.
Well, he was convicted.
He was convicted, but even before the conviction, there was the indictment in Georgia where that mugshot was taken. And it was a huge milestone because we'd never seen a former president or president take a mugshot.
Well, then we saw the official portrait that was taken with Donald
when he
Trump.
did get into the White House.
And the portrait
he used the same pose.
Is the mugshot.
Right, he used that same look. He was like, hey, it worked.
The same pose.
Worked before,
but
so
that
we
wasn't
do it again.
That wasn't good enough. That wasn't on the nose.
No. So You would think maybe it's something that he wouldn't celebrate, but this is Donald Trump, and his presidency is always going to be just a little different. So he is not running from it. In fact, we saw this yesterday during his meeting with the Prime Minister of India. You got a shot of just outside the Oval Office, and in that hallway, he's got the New York Post front page with his mugshot there framed just as you walk into the office.
You know why he likes it so much? Because he believes, and he may be
It's why
right,
he got
that
back
helped
there.
him get elected.
Absolutely.
And not just that. I think to a lot of people, it probably represents, like you said, Charles, first time a president has been arrested, taken a mugshot. But I think to Trump and to his supporters, I think it represents what they see as, lawfare that was exacted against them that they overcome. And like you said, Harvey, I think it did ultimately help Donald Trump get elected. I mean, he might still have won the election without it, but I do think it actually did help him. So I think that's why they're choosing to remember that moment. It's not the convictions or the felonies. It's the lawfare, and it's in their minds their political opponents trying to take him out using the court system and him prevailing.
Hey, it's Melissa from Washington. So, all of us, we have these life events that happen and we put them in our house, we frame them. It's a monumental thing. So, yeah, this is a big deal. And it is very different from every other president out there. Because I think, wasn't he the first one that had an actual police booking? So I don't know. Maybe he's kind of making light of it. Who really knows what's going on? But
he's celebrating it.
He's celebrating it.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely
celebrating. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Hey, this is Vic from Chicago. Giving you guys a little talk about the A$AP Rocky situation. First of all, I can't wait for the Netflix movie about this. You got A$AP Rocky, you got Rihanna, you got a former friend turned enemy, you got blurry surveillance videos, and this week has been also all about burners. We had Blake Lively with needing a burner phone, and now you need a burner gun. I think we've just learned that every A-list celebrity needs to just have multiple burners on them. And also, if Rihanna walks into court with 2 babies in suits, you've automatically won the trial.
Yeah, you may not be wrong.
Yeah, we are going to see in a few days.
One more.
Hi, my name is April. I'm from Jersey City. Kanye West and Bianca, I kind of seen that divorce coming. She did seem a little bit uneasy. However, we all know who Kanye West is at the end of the day. So it's either going to accept him for who he is or just walk away.
You could be doing both.
Yes,
just at different times. We're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, going to see Steve Martin getting ready for the big SNL 50 birthday celebration. He hit a club in New York, and it was a legendary moment.
Comedy cell.
Legendary moment, legendary spot. Well, the big SNL 50 celebration goes down Sunday in New York City. Tough ticket to get, right? But if you were lucky enough last night to just drop $18 for a ticket at the Comedy Cellar in New York City.
You just saw something unbelievable.
Because you got to see Steve Martin working out his material, which we think might be for the monologue. It's definitely going to be something in the show. And he was there working out material. Martin Short was also there. John Mulaney. They're both going to be involved, obviously, in the SNL celebration.
David Spade.
So there are other people who came out later in the night. David Spade, Chris Rock, Ray Romano.
This is bigger than
bigger
than the Oscars. Yeah. I'm so conflicted because I want to watch White Lotus, but I have to go to bed early, and it's 3 hours.
Life is hard for some people, isn't it?
Have a better weekend than me, folks. We'll see you Monday.
See you Monday.